Leadership is a crucial element that radically influences an organization's success and effectiveness. That's why in today's video, I'll be discussing one of the most well-known leadership styles, known as transformational leadership. I'll be breaking down some of the distinguishing qualities of transformational leaders, how they create change, and how you can model these qualities to generate exceptional results in your career or in your domain of operation. Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Elizabeth van Geerestein. I'm your leadership insider, here to help you fast track your leadership and your career. On this channel, we talk about how to develop your leadership skills and how to grow your influence and your impact in all of its dimensions. Let's start with, what is a transformational leader? A transformational leader is anyone who works with others to identify a need for change, to develop a vision to steer the change, and initiates it together with them. Transformational leaders don't just shape the direction of an organization, but they also shape or reshape, as it were, the organization itself. A great example of this is Satya Nadella, Microsoft's CEO. According to many, Nadella successfulully moved Microsoft from the verge of irrelevance to dominate the tech world in less than 5 years. His story perfectly reflects how transformational leaders can revolutionize business culture as well as business performance. Before we go any further, let's take a step back to give you a little bit more context about Microsoft and how Satya Nadella transformed the company. Under Bill Gates' leadership, Microsoft grew to dominate the home and corporate PC markets with its Windows operating system, Office software, and Internet Explorer browser. Back then, Apple, Netscape, and others were the losers in those early tech wars. At its pinnacle, in 2000, Bill handed the CEO role to Steve Ballmer. During Ballmer's tenure, victories turned to losses as investments in significant high-tech innovations were late, missed, or otherwise miscalculated, including internet search, mobile phones, e-commerce, social media, and the cloud. Throughout this 14-year period, Microsoft's stock price fell, while Apple's increased by over 2,000%. Google and Amazon stock prices also rose by 400 to 500%. Even worse, but perhaps not surprisingly, Microsoft's internal culture also degenerated into internal fighting and turf wars. As fast as the company culture was deteriorating, business performance was drastically dropping. When Satya Nadella received the baton of CEO of Microsoft from Steve Ballmer in 2014, he reshaped Microsoft's strategy and transformed its dysfunctional culture. Let's take a look at some of his initiatives. He determined which battles were worth fighting and which ones could be more effectively settled through partnership. For example, he introduced the Office suite on Apple's iOS platform, and that support is still available today on iPad OS and Mac. By collaborating with Oracle, Salesforce, and Red Hat, Nadella envisioned a limitless environment that unleashed the power and potential of his 100,000 employees worldwide. Researchers have repeatedly proven that transformational leadership is one of the most effective leadership styles in both private and public sectors. I'm going to share with you 4 major components of transformational leadership and how they can empower you to drive positive change in your life and in your organization. Number 1, inspirational motivation. Inspirational motivation is a leadership ability to create a future that others want to be a part of. It's about generating a sense of purpose that is shared by all and not just about executing goals. Martin Luther King Jr. epitomizes this in so many ways, and in particular in his I Have a Dream speech. This is a classic example of inspirational motivation. He didn't just say what he wanted to see come to pass. He painted a picture of a better future that was so compelling that made his listeners want to be part of something way bigger than themselves. This picture that he painted unlocked their innate power and inspired them climb previously unsurmountable mountains and break down impenetrable walls of prejudice and social justice. Number 2, intellectual stimulation. This is where leaders challenge their teams to think critically and come up with new and better ideas. Personally, it always amazes me how little thinking is actually done on the job. It's almost as if people come to work and sometimes leave their superior thinking abilities at home. Intellectual stimulation is about really encouraging people to think through solutions and also to think outside of the box. If you want to be a transformational leader, stimulate your team to come up with creative solutions that drive growth. Help them understand that thinking through challenges, problems, creating solutions, it's part of the reason why they're at work, part of the reason why they're on the team. And it's completely normal for them to do a brain gym every single day. Transformational leaders not only initiate change, they foster human relationships and growth. They empathize and foster transition through connection, through co-creation and adaptation. They purposefully build teams around the change initiative. And they do that while encouraging their team members to have a sense of ownership and accountability in the change process. This challenges team members to think interdependently and work autonomously. Number 3, idealized influence. This is all about being a role model who others look up to and appreciate. And it's about encouraging people to do great things. In this lofty position of idealized influence, it's important to be ethical and skilled, as well as having a clear vision of the future. When you set the appropriate example, others are so much more inclined to follow your lead. Even when the organization is going through extreme challenges, you can still be a role model. And it's precisely in those times where people really sit up and take notice how you handle the challenges. Being ethical, being caring, thinking your way through it, being collaborative, being transparent to the degree that you can be, and showing a level of ownership and accountability always inspires others to follow you and give you their best efforts. Number 4, individual consideration. To sustain a company's success, employees must have a sense of ownership and belonging to the company's mission, vision, and overall business goals. Individual consideration emphasizes trust, respect, and collaboration between leaders and followers. By considering individuals' needs, motivations, and value systems, leaders are able to create an environment where everyone feels valued and invested in the company's success. I get asked the question by so many leaders, how do I become more charismatic? How do I generate more charisma when I communicate or in my way of being? Well, individual consideration generates a level of charisma that highly motivates employees to do their best work with increased commitment and productivity. So what exactly makes Satya Nadella such a transformational leader? Well, there's several qualities. Here's 4. Number 1, he's a visionary. He defines a vision that is capable of captivating and engaging his organization. He possesses a vision for change that is capable of captivating and engaging his team members across the organization and impacting the organization's performance and results. Number 2, he co-creates change. We see him collaborating with teams across the organization to bring about change. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to produce a video about the building blocks of co-creating change. Number 3, ideal role models. Satya Nadella, like other transformational leaders, are perceived to have very high morals and ethical standards. People easily identify with them, look up to them, and wish to emulate. They are highly respected by their followers who believe so much in them. They instill a sense of vision and mission and purpose amongst their followers. Number 4, he's a change catalyst. Satya Nadella, like other transformational leaders, does not stop after the transformation is completed. He continually invests in an ongoing transformation journey. They recognize that evolutionary and revolutionary change are intricately intertwined. So they keep improving, adding up to the existing significant collective improvement. So how do they get this done? They know that introducing any kind of lasting change in human organizational systems is not a one-time event and not a one-year activity. Rather, it's an ongoing process of focus, inspection, and adaptation to new ways of doing things. It entails constant visioning and reassessing on the part of the leadership. So let's talk about how you can adopt this leadership style to develop your career and grow your influence. Look, you don't actually need the CEO, chairman, or boss or any other type of title to be a transformational leader. You can be a transformational leader at any level of your organization. All that is required is the ability to inspire, to co-create and lead at your level for a positive impact. In an interview with Nadella about a decade ago, the interviewer asked, what lessons would you give to young people just starting out in their leadership careers? And I love the response that he gave. Nadella said, many people from business schools already have substantial professional experience. They already have an excellent understanding of what it takes to establish or run a business, to start an entrepreneurial venture, or to succeed at a huge corporation. So we take a step higher by looking out specifically for leadership qualities. We seek leadership characteristics in the candidates that we interview. I love that. He went on to say, the most crucial attribute that any leader must have, and often underestimates it, is the capacity to create clarity where none exists. You don't need a leader when everything is properly defined and simple, and all they have to do is follow a well-written strategy. So to finalize, what differentiates transformational leaders from transactional leaders? Transactional leaders adhere to the organization's culture, to its procedures, processes, and rules. They usually have minimal impact when it comes to initiating lasting, successful change. On the other hand, transformational leaders begin by examining the organization's existing culture and status quo and then aligning it with their new vision. If there was ever a time to embark on your own development as a transformational leader, that time is now. As our world experiences unprecedented disconnects and disruptions and situations that there are literally no rule book to successfully navigate. This calls for transformational leadership in so many arenas and walks of life and work and organizations. I hope this video inspires you to take your next step, and make sure you share it with anyone you know who's taking their steps in developing as a transformational leader. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe because I've got some great new videos coming up. Until next time, I recommend you go ahead and watch this video over here, and I'll see you next week.